Hey, War Dolls. We're your hosts, Cammie and Steph, and we're back with another episode of the War Dolls podcast.
We have a very special episode for y'all today. If you are not aware, Adepticon, which is a huge miniature gaming tournament, like probably the biggest in the world, if not the universe, just took place up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and is today. We welcome back to the show Panda, as well as our new guests Lyla and Bonko. Welcome to the War Dolls podcast, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
We're
I'll
so
try
glad
not to
that...
make you have another R-rated episode. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. We have a little check.
Shit.
Language.
Okay, Cap.
I love it here so much.
Love it. So we all kind of connected at the in-person hobby hang that we had on Thursday night at Adepticon, and I got to meet all you wonderful ladies at that hobby hang. So thank you for coming and hanging out with us again.
It's such a pleasure. That meeting
absolutely.
was like life-changing, actually. To find community like that, just, all of us coming together, yeah, just blew my mind. I'm getting emotional even thinking about it, gosh.
Aww. So why don't we just kind of go around the room and have each of you give us a rundown about what you were up to at Adepticon and some of the fun things that you did.
Well, my gosh, I'm like putting me on the spot here. As the newbie, I've never been to Adepticon before, so this is like such a eye-opening experience. I've only been to 2 other cons, Nova and PAX East, and those were all East Coast, in DC and in Philly, and completely different vibes than Adepticon. And Adepticon had the parts I love the most about the hobby. I'd say, like, and also a wide range of, like, just a little bit of everything else you could imagine. And there was so much to explore, and I barely felt like I scratched the surface. But I definitely, oh my gosh, I like the memories of painting at Fort Wapple late into the night, early into the morning, and Panda showing up and Lyla coming over, and just the joys of being able to just be present and in that space at Fort Wapple. And I don't know, it kind of feels a little bit like being a part of history somehow. And then of course the genderqueer meetup was amazing. And I would say those are probably my 2 biggest highlights. The third being kit bashing a bunch of minis for Jamie Daggers' new game that she demoed, Lictor, at the Blacksite booth. And so those 3 things I would say were, big highlights.
I went to Adepticon mostly for the competitions. I entered Golden Demon as well as Resin Beast. I didn't do as well as I would have liked to have done, but I cried. But other than that, like, Adepticon was wonderful. This was the first year that I went and really felt like I had a group of people to connect to. I feel like the other years I've always gone and, like, hoped to find community and find people that I could talk to. But this time I felt like I really had a group of people that it was like, I have this list of people that I'm going to go find and I'm going to spend time with. And it was wonderful. Also, my parents came because it was in Milwaukee this year.
Aww.
So my parents came. That was super exciting. They, of course, kind of know what I do, but, like, I paint pieces of plastic for a living on the internet. Like, it's just confusing. So I took my parents, and it was really funny because I've always told them I'm minorly famous, but they didn't really understand until I was walking around the convention hall and people were literally screaming when they saw me. And so I could not walk through the vendor hall without getting stopped. And it was just, I mean, I always love that. Please come talk to me at Adepticon. It's literally my favorite thing. It's the only time I get to be famous. But having my parents be there and them being like, oh my God, this is like real, was just.
That's awesome. Because
That's so cute.
Fantastic.
last year when I saw you, you were the first person I saw at Adepticon last year, and I almost peed myself. And I tried so hard to not fangirl out. When I came to talk to you, I was like, "Am I allowed to do this? Is this, because I had never been to Adepticon before. All the conventions I had been to were small time conventions. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I will totally nerd out and act like and because raging autism and all that, and I have no idea what I'm doing half the time when I'm talking to people. So yeah,
It's the funniest thing. Like, when I met Lyla, it was just like Jamie Daggers was just like, "Hey, this is my friend Lyla," and I was just like, "It's nice to meet you." Just like it was like normal human interaction. So I'm such a little nooblet in this space that I didn't even know who she was, and low-key, I'm probably still not subscribed to YouTube yet.
That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, I love meeting my fans. It literally makes everything worth it, because the internet can be awful. But meeting people at Adepticon is like, oh yeah, this is why I do this. But so yeah, lost some competitions, met some cool people, and bought a lot of plastic. So it was wonderful.
here's your trophy. You did good.
Thank you. The Varicose Vault offered to buy something from me, so I'm just gonna.
Right.
Yeah, so I took that home, and that's my little trophies that they wanted to buy something from me.
I mean,
Very nice.
Yeah,
It's now in a
That's
museum.
awesome, though.
You won Adepticon. Congratulations.
Damn, the whole thing?
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh shit.
It's not my fault this time. Yay! We haven't even got to me to be able to say fuck yet. R-rated episode number 2. I'm gonna high five Lyla through
High
the
five.
screen.
People join my Discord and I swear all the time, and then they're like, oh my god, Lyla swears. It's like, oh honey, I toned it down so much for YouTube. This is just how I am. Okay, sorry everyone. I'll try to be better.
No worries. Let it fly.
Please don't. Please just be yourself, because you don't have to do the YouTube algorithm. I can't cuss thing. I get it.
So many clips
oh my
happening right
God.
now. So many clips.
Oh, I am so sure, and it's fine. I guess my turn. I feel like I won Adepticon for the first time. This was my first convention where I was the one getting stopped every 5 minutes, and it was weird. Like, I'm used to being... Thank you. I'm used to being the person that's like with the person that's getting stopped every 3 feet, not being the person getting stopped every 3 feet. It's a weird feeling when it goes from one to the other. Because, like, Lyla, I met you briefly at Adepticon 2024. I think we were at the cases together. I had no clue who you were because I had not really started, like, getting into, like, learning who everybody was. And then we met at Dragonfall last fall. And got to hang out a little bit there. And like, but this year it was the really weird Panda, hey Panda, and I'm just like, okay, this is weird, but good, but weird. I was a little freaked out for about a day. But the part for me when I realized, like, okay, this is more than just I kind of casually stream and paint and compete, and now like people know me, was Friday night. I was in the class with AMG and Jason from Monument. I had just got back from dinner with a few people, And I was out with like Jason and a few people from chat in Monument because we all kind of know each other. And like we went to the class, and I got out of class, and the class was upstairs above Fort Wapple. And then if you had been in Fort Wapple at all, and Bonko knows because of where we were all sitting, basically all of the small little streamer crew took over this one corner over by Jim's area. And that's like where all the streamers hung out all weekend. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to get from the class at the top of the escalators to where all the streamers were hanging out, because I got stopped that many times in that like 50-foot walk. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to go 50 feet. And that's when I was like, okay, now this is weird. Like, now I don't know what to feel about things. But I was also there to compete. I entered Golden Demon with my 3-week demon piece. If you've seen it online, it's there. If y'all know what happened, I had this diorama blow up literally 3 weeks before the competition, and I had to pivot and make an entire new piece in 3 weeks. I was very proud of what I got in the case. But it didn't go anywhere, didn't win anything. I didn't expect it to. But there's a lot of people that had heard the story, and a lot of people that just kind of knew me, and a lot of people wanted to stop and talk about what happened and see what happened and go see the piece. So it was interesting to talk to folks. But my big winning Adepticon was a lot of the brands that I've kind of casually worked with over the last couple of years have really started to narrow in and be like, okay, we need you for this, and this projects. What are we talking cost wise? Where I'm going to start getting like really paid for all of this stuff. So like the work is starting to pay off on the streamer end for me. So that was my like big win. And then getting to see all my friends, because it's like the one time out of the year we're all together. You were at the content creators meetup. Both of you were. Everybody was just like screaming and crying and oh my God, my friends. And it was just a wonderful couple of hours. And then that just kind of continued through the whole week. So
yeah,
it was just really nice to see everybody. But that's the big thing for me all the time, is getting to spend time with folks. It was very, very weird. All of a sudden being like hey, we need your attention for a thing, and people stopping. And then I had one fangirl moment and I almost fainted. Like my soul left my body for about 2.8 seconds before I had to remember I'm a professional in this business. I had gone over to Monument Hobbies and Louise had a minute to talk. And I stopped to say hi and I introduced myself. And she goes, "Oh my God, Panda, I've been looking forward to meeting you for so long." And I'm just like, I 404 blue screen for about a millisecond and then had to remember I'm a professional in this business too and say like absolute freak out for about 2 seconds. And it was very interesting, but very cool. So I had a very busy con. I worked a lot.
I would have perished. I would have perished on the spot.
26 miles in 4 days.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
for my Apple Watch. And one of the days I didn't wear my watch, but while I was wearing my watch, 26 miles in 4 days.
My step count was definitely severely skewed to the high end those 4 days.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Louise is so nice. I went up to her one day when she was at the Monument Hobbies booth and introduced myself and the Wardalls podcast.
No, I was that person when she's like, I really want to sit and talk, but I have to go to the bathroom. I'm like, do you need somebody to go with you? Because I know what happens at conventions. And she's like, I think I'm not that famous. I'm like, you would be surprised. I was at PAX U a couple of years ago and watched Anjali Bhamani get accosted in a women's restroom. And I'm just like, it's anytime I see somebody tiny that's like even remotely well known, I'm like, do you need a bodyguard for a few minutes? Like she literally came out of the stall and before she could wash her hands, that poor woman had 30 women around her trying to get pictures. She's like, I just took a dump. Can I please go wash my hands? Like I just had to pee. Like maybe we can talk outside the bathroom. Like, I don't think that was the exact wording, but it was literally like she came out of the stall and every woman in the bathroom except for me lost their minds.
Oh my gosh.
It's like people that are famous pee too.
Right.
Surprise.
Right? Hello. So, ladies, what did y'all think of the new venue compared to the old one?
Well, having never seen it before, I would say it's pretty kick-ass. There are so many beautiful memories of like painting at Fort Wapple and like the snow coming down over the glass atrium above, or the like lightning flashing late at night, and James and I are there painting till like 7 a.m. and I like the rain and just the sun coming through on the days where the clouds broke, and it was just so spacious and lovely, and so much better than the horror stories that I've heard from years past of um underneath the staircase, no ventilation, kind of tiny, tiny cramped painting quarters with um people who might be forgetful to shower or something. So that was like refreshing to not have to experience that, and I feel very privileged. But the space was just beautiful. It was big, and like there was so many different parts that I had not uh explored until like the very end, where you're in one of the big huge halls where there was like the board gaming happening, and it was all empty, and that was crazy to see too, like when everybody's about to pack up. And so yeah, I'm curious what you guys thought.
It definitely had its pros and cons. Like I said, it was closer to my family, so my family got to come. That was absolutely amazing. I loved how big Fort Wapple was, and the way that Game Envy kitted out the whole place with lights everywhere. I remember last year I got up at 6:30 a.m. to go get a spot at Fort Wapple because you had to be there that early if you wanted to get a spot. I was there at 6:30 and other people were already there. I mean, maybe they had stayed all night, but like if you wanted a spot, you had to be up, or you had to like be like a shark and wait around the edges waiting for somebody to leave, and like slowly Jaws theme songs moving up to their space when you saw them packing up so that you could try to like sniper strike their spot. And so Fort Wapple was amazing, and there were so many more paints and more products. It was really cool that Huge Miniatures had their terrain stuff there. Thank God. I needed it because I forgot mine. I also loved how big the vendor hall was. Like on Saturday last year, it was a nightmare with 8,000 people or however many people were there trying to cram into that space. This year you could breathe. There were so many more miniature booths because I don't wargame. I don't do any of that. I just play D&D and like to paint small pieces of plastic. And so this year there were so many more like artistic booths with Inu Kingdom and Mindworks. They've been there before, but like just there were more model companies who were just selling models because it's art. And so that was really great. One thing that did make me sad about it, though, was that you didn't run into as many different people because everything had its own spot. So, like last year, you couldn't walk through the lobby without seeing like everyone, no matter what they did. If they played Age of Sigmar, okay, maybe not historic, but if they played Age of Sigmar, or they kit bashed, or they played Star Wars, or whatever, like everybody was there. This year, I had no idea where the like grim dark corner was until the very last day. And like if you wanted to go meet up with somebody who did mostly, I don't know, kit bashing or sculpting or something like that, like you had to like schedule it. And so it was really nice that there was all this space, but you also didn't just randomly happen upon people like you did before. Overall, I think it was a good change, but it was just like, oh, last year I saw this person, this person, this person just organically in the lobby. And this time I didn't see them at all, and I have no idea where they were the whole convention.
For the listeners that weren't there, Fort Wapple is the painting area, or is it a part of the convention?
Fort Wapple is the painting area where James Wapple or Jim Wapple sets up for his nonstop painting for the 4 days, and that's where the paint and pass is for the charity stuff, and that's where basically all the painters congregate, so people can sit down and paint during the artistic parts of the convention. And it's usually very, very busy. And like Lyla said, it used to be buried under the escalators at the Regency. No, not Regency. The Renaissance in Schauberg.
Yes. Okay, I remember that
so,
part. So I wasn't sure if it was
yeah,
specific.
It used to be very buried in there. Now it's in this massive atrium, basically, that is very well lit. It is very, very big. It is 2 levels. All of the classrooms are right there, so you can just like pop up, run to class, pop back, go back. I never felt like it was so full that you couldn't get a table if you needed one. And
That
then
sounds fabulous.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. The Fort Wapple was a massive, massive upgrade. The downside of that is it was off on its own, similar to way it was at the Renaissance. It's off on its own on one side of the building, far away from everything, which is simultaneously great, but also not. I mean, it's nice because it's quiet and you can talk to people and you don't feel like you have to scream over everybody. But like Lyla said, it's bigger and roomier and much, much more comfortable. Like, I didn't get hit in the face with somebody's wargaming backpack because they're carrying their models around because there's like nowhere to put it because all the lockers were full or whatever. But at the same time, like, yeah, there was breathing room, but it's just such a massive venue that it's like you are running from one end of the world to the other to get to everything with 4 levels instead of like your usual 2. Demos were all over the place depending on what you wanted to demo. The expo hall was great. It was nice to be able to move around, but I really do like, I feel very similar to what Lyla said, is it's just, it was definitely a needed upgrade, but it definitely feels different now. It doesn't feel like a small convention anymore. It feels like a big deal. And there's tons of people I didn't get to see because we were all running around and it was real easy to miss people because everything was tucked in its own separate little area, which is simultaneously nice, but also kind of sucks. But no, I mean, it's a really, really nice venue. It's a really nice area. I hope that at some point in the future they figure out the walk from the Hyatt to the convention center, because that is the least accessible ramp I've ever seen in my life. As somebody who is disabled, that thing was awful. I walked outside a bunch because it was easier to just cross the street. But you know, the venue was really, really nice. The renovations that they've done is great. I know there's a ton of room for us to grow there. Like the big expo hall that we were in, we were only using like 3/4 of it. There's like a whole other section they can still open up, and it felt like there's plenty of room to grow as the convention grows. Mm-hmm. If the weather was nicer, it'd be nice to be able to use the terraces that they have, because I know they have those terraces with like fire pits and stuff, but we couldn't use them because it was just too cold and they hadn't opened them yet. But no, I think it's just, and it's different. For me, the biggest con is how far they moved it, because it used to be 30 minutes away and I didn't have to stay on site. Now it's an hour and a half and I have to stay on site. I don't have the option of needing to drive 3 hours a day to go. Like,
right.
And I think a lot of the local people that lost our local con feel the same way.
Yeah. It's interesting like I said, I got to be closer to my family. My family got to come for the first time. Like, how amazing. But then I also hear about the more local people who are really upset and people questioning if Milwaukee is safe and things like that. And it's always this interesting double-edged sword of it moved away from where it was, which sucks for those people, but then it moved closer to other people.
A ton of other people, yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And Panda, I could see what you were saying about the Hyatt Sky Bridge not being overly accessible, because so for those that don't know, the ramp Sky Bridge from the Hyatt to the convention center, for some reason, and I think it has to do with the design of the parking garage, but it goes up and then you have to go back down. And it's not fun if you're on wheels. Like we had our cart that we were pushing with our minis on it every day, and it was, a 2-person job to get it back down the hill so that your minis didn't tumble off of your cart.
Yeah, I told everybody I was one misstep away from looking like a panda rolling down a hill.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
No, it's exactly what would have happened. I would have looked like every baby panda that has ever rolled down a hill in those funny videos, because I would have just kept going because it's that steep. There would have been no stopping. I would have stopped at the top and I would have landed at the friggin' elevators for the Hyatt. Like, I would have just kept going. Like, when we picked up all of our VIP swag, people were like, "You're not carrying this because you will fall down."
Oh my gosh. Well, I really liked the new venue. I thought it was more like, I loved how many windows were in the building. and how much natural light you got in there versus the darkness of the Renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
I like.
Do
I
you
wish.
want to know a secret about windows?
What's that?
Do you want to know a secret? The
Yeah.
expo hall, that quarter of it we weren't using, that whole quarter is one solid wall of glass. It's all natural light that they can open up.
Okay, they need to open that up next year. So yeah, I liked how much it just felt more open, and like it didn't feel like a dungeon that we were in. I really liked the choices of food vendors that they had, rather than just having concession stands and one or two lunch serving places like the Renaissance did. There were food vendors on every single floor except the fourth one. There were no food vendors up on the fourth floor. But every floor
There
had
was a
food
bar,
vendors.
though.
There was a bar, but no food. So I liked, like, none of the food lines seemed like they were overly long ever, which was nice. And this year was the fastest we have ever gotten through badge pickup. Years prior, you had to give yourself at least 3 hours. This year we got through in 50. We got through it in 50 minutes. It was so quick.
Yeah, bless them, because last year they started shipping badges. So
Yeah.
a lot of people signed up to have theirs shipped, which cut down on the lines so much.
I know that helped a lot, but people still had to pick up their swag bags and their merch. And even still with that, it really wasn't that bad.
That's awesome.
So good job, Adepticon.
The coffee wasn't close enough. I was real salty. There was
that's fair. It was difficult to get coffee.
Yeah,
and drinkable
the only
water.
place you could really drinkable water and coffee needs to be more accessible next year.
Yeah, $6 a bottle for bottled water was a lot.
Oh my god! I bought Gatorade. I was in line to get pretzels and Gatorade from a vendor, and we were taking bets as to how much it was going to cost as I was moving ahead. And I got one of those like pretzels that probably costs like $1.50, like when you buy the whole package itself with 20 pretzels in it or whatever. That pretzel cost me $6. The Gatorade was $8. And if I had known that before, they make the prices small so that you don't know till you get up to the front of the line and you've been there for 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And now you're like, well, guess I'm paying $8 for Gatorade because I'm not getting out of this line now.
Also,
awful.
we very quickly learned that the no outside food or drink rule literally only applied to the front entrance. Everybody that came over the skywalks, they didn't give a shit.
False. We brought
really.
My husband had leftovers from the restaurant in the Hyatt, and we went over the bridge, and they made him sit there and finish eating it, and would not let him in with his leftovers.
They let us
from
bring
the restaurant.
Snacks. I guess it depended on who was there.
It depended on who, or maybe what you had. I don't really know. We never had a problem with drinks, though.
There was one security guard who always stopped my husband every time we went through, and everybody else was like, yeah, you're fine, you can go through. That man, I don't know. There was one guy who took his job really seriously, and everyone else was like, this is a mini convention. Just fucking walk through just walk through the metal detector. But that one guy,
Lyla, I adore you.
But one guy,
I do it too.
You gotta look like you belong
really
there.
took his job seriously. So I bet that one guy is the guy who wouldn't let your partner walk through with his chicken wings or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I honestly think that like the security team probably loved us after what they had to deal with the week before. So
what was the week before?
What was there the week before?
Now I say this as somebody who was a sports mom when my oldest was in high school. My oldest played junior Olympic volleyball. They had a volleyball convention for boys and girls, a Midwestern tournament ages 10 to 18, which means they had something like 50 to 100,000 teenagers screaming the entire weekend in the building while the NCAA championships, like March Madness, was going on across the street.
And they probably like trashed up the place
Pass.
too.
They were probably the volleyball conventions usually are not ones to trash the place. Like people that play volleyball, they're very strict about you leave it as nice as you found it, or you could get kicked out of leagues. So they're usually very, very strict about, like, we had super hardcore rules that, as part of USA Volleyball, that we had to adhere to. But I know what those tournaments sound like, and oh boy, we were probably silent compared to that. So I saw that. I'm like, they're going to love the nerds. We're going to be so much more chill than a bunch of angry teenagers and their parents.
And it was a really chill convention. It is
a very chill convention.
It was a far cry from the tea at the mini painting convention last year.
Oh, what? The tea at Nova. We all know what you're talking about. It's fine. Nova was chaos. It's going to be chaos again this year. It's fine.
I don't know the tea.
The tea at Nova last year was they were not prepared for how many entries they got, because every person that entered the competition could enter like up to 3 per category, and they expected 600 entries and got 1,200 and didn't have enough judges. People's stuff never got taken out of the case to get judged. I'll say that right now, because I know none of my stuff came out of the case for actual judging, because when I handed it in for feedback, they had never seen the piece before. It literally sat in the case. My goblin sat in the case behind something with a 6-inch tall backdrop, and nobody saw it for the first 3 days of the convention. So it just sat in the case and it never got taken. Like, nothing got looked at. It was chaos, and it was very overfull. And then everything going on this year with them not being able to get their ticketing and stuff in order. It's a whole thing, and it's not a big deal. It happens with every convention has its issues, but Nova got pretty spicy. There were also some people that should really not compete in painting competitions and then go to the bar after and start running their mouths. But that's all I'm going to say in a recording.
Actually, I can't say the next thing I was going to say. So, yeah,
we can save it for the post show.
Yeah, we can save it for the post show, because I'm not going to talk about that because, like, I can't confirm or deny exactly what I heard in the bar. But some people should really not paint and drink.
Facts. I forget what it's also like the rules for Golden Demon or Resin Beast or any other painting like competition at Adepticon, but like the specifics about like, can judges from different categories vote on each other's pieces while they're all in the same room judging each other's work. Feels a little incestual at the least, and I think that one, like, hopefully that'll be fixed, you know.
Yeah, that one doesn't bother me so much, because there were judges that their stuff did not get anything, like, that were in Masters, because the judges judge different stuff, and they are able to keep that pretty separate. But it was the fact that they were done judging by 11 p.m. when, like, the previous year it was half as many and it took them till 4 a.m. because people were, like, literally looking at every single thing in the case.
Right.
And then a lot of us went to feedback, and it was very obvious that judges had not seen our work, which it felt unfair. And then something similar happened at Essen, where there was like a whole case at Golden Demon that they looked at. So it's one of those, if you're going to host a painting competition, please pull everything out of the case and give it a good look, especially if you're going to do feedback, because that gives all of us like more faith in you as a competition, that you're going to at least look at our stuff, because we all want to get better, and we don't get better if it's like you're just seeing my piece for the first time and it's been in the case for 5 days.
Yeah,
I go to competitions because I want to get better, and I like, you know.
That's a good point.
For sure.
And they're very explicit about not offering feedback to a Golden Demon. Yeah. But it was nice to see so many women entering, and I hope so many more enter, and not just pieces that are like, oh, like GD isn't like, you know, a real thing that you should be concerned about, so just enter in like a joke piece, you know, just because, like, I really want to see women entering pieces that they are super passionate about, that they care about, that they want to paint, whether it's for Golden Demon or not, and they do it to the best of their ability. And that's what I'm looking forward to the next year, because to me that's inspiring. I know that like Golden Demon has their own aesthetic, and they're gonna really lean into what's good for marketing, naturally so. Like it just makes money sense. as much as we may disagree with it at times. But like, I would love to see more women getting past the bar of what was it, commended or something like that, or like finalist. Yeah, I'd like to see more women getting finalists, because Kaha just can't be the only one standing there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more women and more people of color, especially American
Absolutely.
people of color. Like, I'm not talking about the Spanish painters. I'm talking about the Black folks that are entering these competitions, and their work is incredible, and they don't get seen.
Reach.
And part of that too, I think, is something that I've been talking over with a couple of my coaches, and that's stop putting your stuff that you're competing with on social media.
Why?
Because everyone can see it, including the judges. Because if it's like just general judges, they still follow all of the painters. Like, they're marketing, they're supposed to be following people on social media. If you're not putting your stuff out there early so people know it's yours, there is no bias. There can be no bias, because bias, while it shouldn't exist, especially in judging, you should be as objective as possible. Bias is always going to be there, especially if, like, you're judging and you're also a coach, and all of a sudden you have a piece in your hand that on the internet you've seen 1,000 times because you helped that person learn how to paint that model.
Yeah.
Right? One of two things is going to happen. Either you know the model well enough because you've seen it so much and you're judging it based on it's your student, or you're going to judge it even harsher because you don't want to get accused of favoritism. Right?
Interesting.
So if people don't see the work ahead of time, then you're putting your stuff in the case to objectively be judged, because then no one's seen it. Because people are absolutely off it if they think that the people that work for GW don't follow the Golden Demon hashtag, right? Or that the people from Creature Caster don't follow Resin Beast hashtags. If you're putting all of that stuff on the internet, people have seen the work.
Yeah.
And so they go into it already knowing who painted it. And implicit bias is a thing, especially in the US, right? Like, we all know that. And if they've already put a name and a face to the person who's painted it, rather they want to admit it or not, there's some level of bias there. Like, I could never judge painting competitions because I would see my friends' work and I want my friends to succeed all the time. Like, I can be objective if I need to be objective, and I can give feedback outside of a competition setting. I could never judge because I would know whose piece is whose and not be able to be like fully like, man, I know how hard they worked on that. I know how long that took them. I know that person only took like 3 weeks to paint that. Like, you know what I mean? So my plan going forward is anything I'm competing with doesn't go online until it's done and the competition has started.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, good surprise is, I think, worth its weight in gold, and definitely brings some of that like wow factor. Also allows you, like, maybe Lyla feels differently, but I know you and I, Panda, are like, our pieces, we're doing those things live, and that's
I'm
an
not
extra
anymore.
weight of anxiety. Or we did do our pieces live, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, it's
yeah,
part
I mean,
of our
how
daily
many
life and our
hundreds of
routine,
people
right?
sat there and watched? How many hundreds of people sat there and watched me struggle bus through the pivot and have to do all of it on stream because all I could do was work for 3 weeks on that piece? If I'm starting my pieces now and I'm just painting stuff for fun on stream, one, the audience is going to have more fun watching what I'm doing because I'm not in panic mode. And two, I can work on my piece for the next year, turn it in next year, and people might know it's mine because I've kind of talked about what I'm doing, but no one will have seen it. And for all anybody knows, somebody stole my idea and took it, and there's 2 of them in the case.
I usually don't paint my competition pieces for videos, which hasn't worked very well because I painted Curse Baby, or my, what is her? Curse Elemental, Void Elemental. I nicknamed her Curse Baby because I've been painting her for 3 years. And something bad has happened so many times. I've had an airbrush explode on her twice. She fell off of the plinth during judging at a competition in the fall.
Oh my God.
I remember this.
I melted a glove to her base last year because apparently super glue will instantly melt a glove. And so, like, I've nicknamed her Curse Baby. But anyway, so she's been in like 3 videos. So that's probably why I lost. That was it. She's
like
been in Too many videos.
She was cursed.
God,
She was
cursed.
God damn, it was cursed, baby, it was cursed, and that's why I lost. That's why
It is literally cursed, baby was cursed. Because I remember you having to do all of that work last fall trying to repair her.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Kudos to you for pushing through it though, because a lot of people would have just been like, you know what? This is going in the bin and I'm doing something else.
I know,
It's like the plutonium, like radioactive, like deathcore or whatever.
When Verico's Vault wanted to buy her, I was like, no. Do you know how much work I put into this? You can't pay me enough to take this model from me. But anyway, usually I don't record the models that I paint for competitions because I hold them, so I can't record and paint to my best ability at the same time, just with the camera setup I have. I like to hold the model like 3 inches from my face, and I'm just not going to be able to record as well at that angle. So my quality just inevitably drops when I'm recording. So either I record or I paint for competitions. So yeah, so I don't do that usually anyway.
I'd love to see like a time lapse of Lyla, like just like pretend doodling on her competition piece as it gets like progressively like better and better. And then it's like all of a sudden it goes from like little potato to just like absolutely glorious, like top tier shelf model, and just like a little hair flip at the end, you know?
I do the hair flip a lot. You guys can't see it, but the hair flip's real. That's I'm minorly famous hair flip.
I love that for you though. Oh, I love it. No, I'm just basically committing that I am not doing competition stuff on stream anymore, and I'm not posting pictures of it on Instagram or anything. I'm going to do a lot more of my painting for fun while I'm streaming. I think that's the biggest takeaway that I think I've had over the last 3 or 4 months with Adepticon and everything else. I'm going to be painting for fun and work on my commission pieces on stream, and off stream I'm going to work on my competition stuff where I can sit like a gremlin and have my model like 2 inches from my face, and you know, have my feet on my desk because I don't feel like getting bumped into by the dogs or whatever. So
I love that though.
I mean,
I'll still demand like pics and DMs though, Panda. Like to
oh
see...
yeah, no, I mean, close friends will be able to see it. My mentors will be able to see it. I have a list of about 15 people that may see the piece, and you are on it. You know, prior to when I go to turn it in and I start taking final photography of it. So it's going to basically be really close friends and coaches, and other than that, maybe one specific Discord that is not mine. That, you know, I have friends in that are competition painters, and we rip people's shit apart. Well, there's 2 Discords. We will literally rip each other's work apart, not maliciously in the, oh, you want to fix it? This is what you have to fix.
No, like valid artist critique. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
great.
super, super intensive critique. And sometimes it can be a little intense. So that's where I would be putting the stuff. It's not going anywhere where it's going to be publicly seen.
Slay.
Including my own personal like community Discord. I'm not even going to show people there what's going on.
I think that's a good point too. Like, as streamers, like part of our job is like entertainment, and I find that like I always do better when I have a little weirdo little dude to paint on stream just for that day or 2 days, and people always seem to like really appreciate that freshness, rather than like having this laborious thing that you're slaving over. And then I'm just exhausted when I actually turn off the stream and go to paint that thing privately. So I agree, boundaries are important.
So besides Adepticon, what other conventions do you girls like to go, attend, go to, work at?
Nova. I'm so ready for Nova.
I teach at Dragonfall every year. It is a very small convention in Lake Geneva. I hate traveling, so I don't go anywhere.
Fair and valid.
If you want to take my classes, you can go to Dragonfall. I would love to teach at Adepticon. I don't know who to talk to about that, but hire me, Adepticon. No, I'll figure it out. But I love teaching. I used to be a college professor, actually, so I'm quite good at teaching.
You are. I've taken one of your classes.
Why, hair flip. Thank you.
At Dragonfall, because I also like to go to Dragonfall. Dragonfall's very close for me. It is 30 minutes, so
come to Dragonfall. Take my classes. I'm great.
I'm Googling it right now.
I go to Dragonfall. I go to Nova, but I'm not going this year because I can't handle the stress of everything that's been going on. And my husband and I decided to take that money and go on a romantic weekend that we have not had in many, 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 many years. So we're going to go have some us time. But next year it is hopefully Gamma in March, Adepticon in March, Nova in August. I have talked to a couple of people that may want me to work at Gen Con, and I'm like, if you want me to come to Gen Con, you're paying for it and ensuring I have a hotel. Dragonfall, and then PAX U. Conventions are kind of the work for me. Streaming and conventions, I have to be at as many as possible. So that's the list. But Gamma for sure, Adepticon for sure, Dragonfall for sure, Nova hopefully, Gen Con hopefully, PAX U hopefully. But I agree with Lyla. Dragonfall's great. Take Lila's classes. She's an excellent teacher.
Do it.
I actually had to warn Lyla about a problem child that was in her class that had given everybody like shit all weekend and had run her mouth like constantly through every class and not let instructors talk. And I was like trying to give Lyla the heads up. And Lyla was just so graceful about it and never gave this woman a chance to open her mouth.
Like a trained college professor. Love it.
No, I kid you not. She was actually not even there for herself. She was there with her partner, and she talked over all of the instructors the entire weekend. It was exhausting.
So, Lyla and Bonko, you are both new to the podcast, and we would love to have you back for individual episodes if you're so inclined. But for our listeners, where can they find you on the internets? Or not on the internets if you really want to dox yourself. Well, Don't do that. Don't do that.
I am Bonko Buckus on Twitch and on Instagram and sometimes lurking behind little garbage pails in gremlin form. But yeah, generally when I see sunlight, it's on Twitch and on Instagram, so you can follow me there.
Well, I am minorly famous. You can follow me on you. You can follow me on YouTube as hair flip as Lyla Mev the Mini Witch. If you like cats, you can come watch me on YouTube at Lyla Mev the Mini Witch. I have two familiars named Cardamom and Mochi. They love to make appearances. Instagram, same thing. I have a Patreon if you want to learn from me. Again, I'm a great teacher. Like Panda said, trust Panda. I'm wonderful. And I also do private lessons. So if you want to learn how to feather or glaze or wet blend or whatever you want to do, I can do private lessons as well. I also have merch. Check out YouTube, my website, blah, blah, blah. Buy stuff from me.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm great.
Lyla, I adore you.
Don't be like me who doesn't follow Lyla. Get on it, y'all.
So, Panda, Bonko, and Lyla, thank you so much for coming on here and giving us a recap of Adepticon. And I look forward to seeing all of you in person and meeting you, Bonko, because we haven't met yet. In person next year because I will be there or else.
Amazing.
Hell yeah!
Looking forward to it.
So anybody not familiar, the War Dolls is a community of geeky girls who are here to support and inspire one another and promote one another or ourselves. We can be found online at thewardolls.com. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Discord. For most of those, we are at the War Dolls. Pretty easy to find. Links to our Discord can be found on our Instagram page.
And as always, we have our hobby hang every Thursday night at 7 o'clock Eastern in our Discord voice chat. So come hang out with some super awesome nerdy chicks.
And as always, if you have any questions for our guests or topics you would like to hear about, please let us know on Facebook or Instagram, or you can just email us directly at thewardalls@gmail.com. So let's go, Wardalls, and be kind to each other.
Please don't include that.